Once upon a time, they say, there was a peasant in a village, and one day this peasant went out to his field to sow some corn. As he was sowing, it just so happened that Christ and St. Peter were passing by. Could Christ just keep silent and mind his own path? "What are you sowing there, good man?" he asked. "Oh, just some dicks," the peasant replied rudely. "Dicks you say you're sowing, may God grant that dicks it shall become," said Christ, blessing the sown seeds with both hands, and then they continued on their way along with St. Peter, who could barely contain his astonishment at the words that had come out of Christ's mouth, for the Saviour had never spoken so crudely before. After he finished sowing, the peasant returned home. Then, when it was time for weeding, he went and weeded the corn as usual, and again returned home. But when it came time to harvest, what did he see? Instead of corn, on every stalk were 3 or 4 sturdy dicks, each more plump, more stiff, and more defiant. "Damn it, what has become of my entire summer's labour?" said the peasant, scratching his head and throwing his hat on the ground as hard as he could. "I've never encountered this since I was born. Damn its guts. Well, well, what now? Damn that blessing, for it was indeed a curse at the mouth." As the peasant sat dumbfounded just then, an old hag happened to pass by. "Good day to you, good man," she said. "I'd shove my knee up the arse of you-know-who, auntie," the peasant cursed out of his misfortune. "But why, God forgive me, are you so vexed, my man?" the old woman asked, looking gloomy. "Isn't it somewhat improper to speak like that in front of an old woman like me?" "How else am I supposed to speak, auntie, when you see how God has mocked my hard work? Given the poverty I'm in, do I need dicks? Look over there at the field, and then tell me if you have anything to say." When the old woman looked at the field, she clasped her hands over her head at the sight. Dicks everywhere, stiff and defiant, in all directions. "Alas, poor me and me, nephew! This is something else." "If it were only one thing, auntie, what would it be to you? But there are hundreds and thousands, a curse on them. I feel like hanging myself, nothing else." "Ah, let it be, nephew," the old woman said, looking sorrowfully at the dicks. "How do you know this isn't a blessing from God for you?" "May God not bestow such blessings even on my enemies, auntie. But where has anyone heard of such nonsense, to eat dicks instead of corn? Teach me too what to do, for I'm at my wit's end." The old woman thought for a while and then said, "Nephew, I would teach you what to do to quickly get rid of them and make 10-fold and 100-fold more money than with corn. But what will you give me?" "What are you saying, auntie? Teach me, and I'll give you whatever you ask for, and a heap of dicks on top." When the old woman heard about the dicks, her heart skipped a beat, for her eyes gleamed at the sight of them, so robust and brawny. "Then here's what you do, nephew. Load them in a cart and take them to the market. You'll sell them like hotcakes. But darn your luck, now you must put shame aside and let me teach you how to instruct the buyers to use them." "You speak well, auntie. Please tell me, I beg you." "When they feel the urge for a dick, they should shear it as we shear sheep. And then just hold on to your butt. And when they've had their fill of it, they should say, 'Ho, ho, insatiable glutton.' And then right away it softens, and you rid yourself of it." And as proof, the old woman grabbed a larger mandrake from a stalk and began to put it to work as it should be done. The peasant was astounded, having seen this too. "But where did you learn this craft, auntie?" he said softly. Nephew, where the devil gathers twigs, I've chopped logs. Don't ask how, and just be thankful I've opened your eyes to what to do." That was all the peasant needed. He gave the old woman what he had promised, then went home, loaded his cart well, hitched up the oxen, turned back to the field, loaded a sturdy cart full of dicks, and off to the market he went with them for sale. As soon as he arrived at the market, without a moment's delay, he began to shout as loud as his voice would carry, "Come get your dicks! Come get your dicks! Strong and hard dicks for the grand ladies!" A widowed lady, hearing such words from the peasant's mouth, sends a maid to summon him to her, so she might give him a piece of her mind. The maid goes and calls the peasant. And when the peasant arrives, the lady begins to scold him, saying, "Well, good man, what filth are you spouting near my porch? May the devil take you. I'll have you flogged so badly you'll be carried home on a stretcher. Understand?" "But, gracious lady, The peasant scratches his head. Forgive me, your honourable self. What can I do? We've been given some dicks by God and brought them to the market to see if we might make a few pennies off them, for we're swamped with a multitude of taxes and all sorts of troubles. Good man, are you mad or what, to talk such nonsense in front of me? God forbid, honourable lady. I'm speaking the sober truth, poor me. Here, let me bring one to you so you can see if you don't believe me. Damn the hands that made them, for making me enter into quarrels with people because of them. If they were of female use, I'd keep them for myself, but as it is. And straight away he goes to the cart and selects a particularly large ear of corn, and with it, straight into the lady's house. Look, lady, does this seem like a joke to you? See now what my summer's work has come to, and then you threaten me with a beating as if I'm not already beaten down by God. Damn their 40s, whoever I know. The lady now sees the peasant is speaking the truth and turns away, though still sneaking glances at the respectable Dick from time to time. Damn you, peasant, for you are a rascal. And then how would one go about using it, should one want to? Not that I need one, of course, but I'm really curious about such a comedy. How to use it, lady? Forgive me, your honourable self, when someone feels the need, they shear it a few times, as we shear sheep, and then, just wait. It won't let you down. And when you're satisfied and want it to stop, just shout at it, ho, ho, insatiable glutton. And right then, you'll see it retract nicely, like a snake into water. And afterwards, whenever you feel like it, just do the same. And if you're not satisfied, then curse me. Damn you, vile peasant, for you are the devil himself, said the lady, who had begun to grow accustomed to coarse language. Step outside the room for a bit and then I'll call you back soon. I have a little task. The peasant quietly exits, and the lady, out of curiosity, starts to shear the novelty, and then the respectable Dick snaps into the lady's, and she goes at it until her need is fulfilled. But alas for the lady, the old saying, the old mare isn't scared of a thick dick. She sat, poor thing, as a lamb sits by the ewe's teat, until she had her fill. The lady was of the most desperate sort, tight in cunt, strong in backbone. The Dick grinds from the jawbone, for it's quick on the uptake. Finally, after the lady was well satisfied, she whispers quietly, Ho! Ho! Insatiable glutton! And then immediately the Dick softens and flops down. The lady promptly picks it up with great reverence and kisses it right on the tip. Then she calls the peasant back into the house and, taking him aside, asks, And how did you come by such cursed things, good man? How did it happen, lady? Well, this past spring, while sowing corn in the field, the devil, for lack of a better word, brought 2 men by, and one of them asked me, What are you sowing? Couldn't I keep my mouth shut? I was moved by sin to reply rudely that I was sowing dicks. Forgive me, Your Honour. And then he, rashly, or who knows how, blessed my field in passing with both hands, saying, May God make dicks grow. And as you see, Your Honour, dicks grew. And so I became a dick merchant without God's knowledge, my dick and 3 coins, and a cartload of Jews, forgive me, Your Honour. But you sure have a way with words, swallowing them all up. Well, lady, if that's what they're called, what else should we call them? My good man, could it be that one of them was Christ and the other St. Peter? For only they performed such miracles. Well, lady, how should I know who they were? God or the devil, may they take their dispute elsewhere. For better words I cannot find. Forgive me, Your Honour, for I know they've done me a good turn. If it's as you say, my good man, then I believe it must have been Christ, and therefore let me buy one from you as a keepsake of the year when such things grew in the field. For after me, this is a sign of plenty. Dicks, you mean, lady? Those things, damn you for eating them up so much. Well, lady, if that's how our mouths are trained, what can we do? Forgive me as well. But if it's as you say, lady, then I spend too much time wondering about God. What the devil? Doesn't he have better things to do than making dicks grow in people's fields? Forgive me, Lord, but that. God must be quite the dick lover, to like them so much. But who knows the sin? I'll do as you say, lady. Maybe God wanted to fill my pockets with money, for they've been empty too long, not a penny to my soul. Well, what do you say, lady? Will you take one or not? You're keeping me from the fair. What are you asking for this monstrosity? Said the lady, pretending to be disgusted somewhat. God give me strength, but I have no need for it. What should I ask, honourable lady? To not haggle over it, I'll take $500 each and we're settled. What did you say? $500? Do you realise you're out of your mind, my good man? Well, lady, my balls sweated plenty too, weeding through so many dicks and bringing them to this state, as you see. And if I can't make a profit from a lady like you, then what hope have I with the peasant women of our village? They'd want you to give them a handful of dicks for a penny and throw in a heap more on top. That's how it is with us peasants, damn me, forgive me, Lord, for my foul mouth. My good man, wouldn't $300 be enough? Not a penny less, lady. 400 then, my man. It can't be done, lady. Not even 450? Not even $499.39. Don't also start haggling over $50. Do me a kindness so I don't stand idle. You'll have a fine quality dick, and you'll recommend me to other ladies of your acquaintance. Fine, here's $500, said the lady. But you better not dare tell anyone you sold one of these to me, or you're the devil himself. Understand? Aha, lady, do you think I have any interest in spreading that, my sins? Eventually the lady gives $500, takes the dick, and the peasant is on his way, off to continue his business selling the other dicks. But having dicks to sell was no longer a complaint of his. As the saying goes, the good horse is asked about from the stable. But what's the use of talking so much? As the peasant left, the lady, both sly and exhausted, makes a gilded silver box, adorns the holy dick in cotton sprinkled with fragrances, places it and locks it in the box as an invaluable treasure, keeps the key with her, and whenever the urges came, she would sit down diligently to her task, satisfy her craving, and thus no longer felt the need to wander aimlessly, as before. The poor lady had made herself quite comfortable for her old age. Now one day the priest from the lady's estate comes asking her to godmother a child. Not wanting to refuse the priest, she hitches the horses to the carriage and goes with him to the village to perform the baptism. And after baptizing the child, she stays at the priest's house for a meal that day. And at the table, having a glass or two of wine more than usual, as people do, here please take it at least up to the priest's wife's waist. Here may it be so bad. The lady gets a bit tipsy and suddenly feels the urge for the dick. Well, what to do? The priest and his wife won't let her go home. You'll stay with us tonight, godmother, they say, for surely your children aren't weeping at home. In the end, the lady was burning with desire for the dick. Godfather priest, she says after a while, if you won't let me go home, take this key and do me a favour. Go to my house, open the chest by the bed where I sleep, take out a silver box from there and bring it here, for I need something from it. Women's trifles, you know, how it is. Thinking it might be some gifts for his wife, the priest immediately sets off on horseback. Upon reaching the lady's house, he rummages in the chest, finds the box, and quickly heads back to the priest's house. It was midday in the middle of summer, and the priest was sweating bullets from the heat. Halfway through the journey, passing by the edge of a forest, he stops under the shade of a leafy tree to cool off a bit. And as he's cooling off, the devil puts it into his head to peek inside the box. He fiddles with the box, turns it around, and somehow manages to open it. And when he looks inside, what does he see? A dick, swaddled in cotton scented with fragrances. The priest, overcome with curiosity, begins to handle it. And as he's fiddling with it, the dick snaps into the priest's behind. The priest starts to scream and pray. Lord, deliver me from the enemy. Do not let your servant be mocked by the devil, for I have served only you and know no other. But it was all in vain. Eventually, realizing there was no escape, he takes off his belt, ties one end to the tree and the other end around the dick as best he can, and then he doesn't start thrashing about and twisting in all directions, like oxen at a threshing floor when they're pulling something heavy but there was no way out. The priest prays, screams, strains, but there's no hope of escape, for he had stumbled upon a formidable Dick. Finally, nearly out of breath, Fortune smiled upon the priest in the form of a cow, scared witless, almost trampling him to death. Out of sheer terror, the priest starts to shout in despair, "Ho! Ho! Insatiable beast! May the wolves devour you!" The cow veers off, and just then the Dick pops out of the priest's behind, and when he finds himself freed, he dashes through the forest like a madman, abandoning horse, box, Dick, belt, the priest's wife, the lady, everything, and he runs off to the ends of the earth. And gone he remained to this very day.